Context. When I was in the office, so this is a transcript of an interview. When I was in the office, I had a clear boundary between work and home. But now that I was working from home, it felt like I was always on the cloud. So with this text, the researcher can assign this code or label, which is called boundary blurring. So this, I'll discuss this detailed example. This is an example of thematic analysis. But just to tell you what do we mean by code. So this word or this phrase within the red box is the code or the label. Okay. Similarly, there is another code: communication challenges, productivity impact. So this is a terminology used for these words which are assigned to a piece of text. So after the coding has been done, theme identification is given. Find recurring patterns, interpretations, draw conclusions based on frequency and context. I think we have covered half of the presentation. It's 2:30 now. So if there are any questions, I can take up those questions. Okay. Is that all right, Dr. Manish?
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay then.
And I just would like to make a point. There was such clarity in your presentation and so interesting, and
actually,
I'm sure you must. Yeah. I'm sure you must be a very famous teacher, and your students would really be enjoying your class because it's so much of clarity and so simple to understand the way you explain. So
yeah, I don't want very complex type of presentation with so many figures, and that I do not do actually.
No, it's so much. It makes a lot of sense even if you read it for the first time. So thank you.
And then I'll definitely be giving this presentation to the participants so they can have a look at it and they can develop their own. They can develop it further.
No, very very nice moment, very impressive, and I really. It really appealed a lot the way you are presenting it. So the participants, may I request if some of you would like questions, and I can also, sir, read out a few of the questions that I received in the chat box. One is, Rohit Kumar is asking, will the trial of a vaccine on a particular group of population come under qualitative research?
The trial, you see, qualitative research, it would come under what you are trying to get. Trial of, you see, when the trial is done, you look at what is the impact of the trial on the impact of vaccine on the patient. So that is not qualitative in nature. See, that has to be quantified. I would suppose that there you are trying to quantify that what is the effect. So qualitative something which is based on the experiences of people. So they can tell that this is my experience, but to test the effectiveness of the vaccine, then you have to have some hardcore statistics. So depending upon what you are trying to find out from your respondent. So if you are trying to just find out from the interviews whether you feel much lazier now, then that type of analysis will be a qualitative analysis. On the other hand, if you are trying to see the effectiveness by conducting some tests, then it's quantitative. So always depend upon the research question. What is the research question? Okay, research question is important. So if you do a research question where you are just trying to gather the information or gather the views of the participant, then obviously it is a qualitative. Thank you, sir. Yes.
The question is by Simi Rizvi. She is asking, what are some emerging trends and challenges in qualitative research?
See, nowadays when we when the research is carried out, there is a researcher bias. That is the most important challenge. And also the issues of ethical considerations. So data is collected, analyzed, but when it is presented, the results are presented, then there could be a researcher bias. So that is one of the most challenging issues that comes to my mind when we talk about qualitative data analysis, and also ethical considerations. So people collect data and then the data is sold off, data is misused. So these are two very big challenges. Also, this software that are available needs to be improved a lot. I have come across one or two software where they are using qualitative data analysis, but again the results may not be very good. But with the help of these now large language models that have come into practice these days, large language models are like ChatGPT and Google AI and this DeepSeek. These are all large language models. So these models are able to analyze the qualitative data nowadays much better. So three issues that I can summarize. One is the researcher bias in presenting the results, because they may be influenced by the political establishment in certain cases. They may be influenced by they could be governed by the fear of the religious lobby. Similarly, there can be issues regarding the use of the software. Software availability is also not very good. For example, NVIDIA, it is a proprietary software. Also, UGC mentions this type of software, but these are proprietary software and one has to buy the software. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
So, will any other participant like to ask a question? And it is a rare opportunity you get to ask question to Professor Sharif. So, I mean, I would really like some more of you to take this opportunity to clear your doubts, to ask a question.
Hello.
Yes. Right.
Sir, Rohit Kumar.
Yes.
Sir,
I can see
if
your
there
name.
would, sir, my question is, if there wouldn't had any measuring device, will all the researchers have gone into the category of qualitative research?
If there has been no measuring device,
There wouldn't have any measuring device. All the researchers have gone into qualitative research.
yes, but obviously for quantitative research you need to measure. So in hypothetical situation, you are saying that suppose there are no
Sir,
measuring devices, obviously there won't be any quantitative research. So all research would be qualitative. But this is a very hypothetical situation. It has been proved that now there are measuring devices. Measuring devices are available, na? So why do you say that suppose there were no measuring devices? Measuring devices are there, so you measure things and then measure variables, items, and then carry out quantitative research. Qualitative research obviously do not require any measurement as such. Okay.
yes. Thank you, sir.
I think nobody else is wanting to ask questions, sir. So maybe
Yeah, we
we
can
should
continue.
proceed. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so in content analysis, these are the this is the process of content analysis. You have to collect data, then carry out coding. Coding means assigning some categories of words, categories to words or phrases. Theme identification. Based on the coding, themes are identified. So there could be two codes and then a particular theme is given to those two codes. So the conclusions are derived based on the frequency and the context in content analysis. In content analysis, the the conclusions are based on the frequency of the occurrence of words, and the context in which that word has been used. Coding, as I already told you, is sticking labels on relevant pieces of data. Now, example of content analysis. A research question could be, see, when you carry out qualitative research, you have to have a research question. In our earlier presentation, on my first presentation, we have looked at what is a research question, what are the characteristics of a good research question. So the research question is the prerequisite for conducting any research. So you have to have a research question. Then only you go for qualitative data analysis. So research question could be, how do companies use sustainability language in their marketing? So what will be the data source in this case? In this case, the data source could be the corporate sustainability reports. Now, sustainability is a big field these days because, see, you must have heard about sustainable development. Sustainable development is a type of development where you use the resources in the most optimal manner without causing much harm to the environment. That is what we mean by sustainable development. Okay, development without causing much harm to the environment, in simple terms. So, companies use sustainability language in their marketing also. Findings could be that 75% of report focus on carbon neutrality. So they might have used the word carbon neutrality quite often in their reports. And maybe biodiversity they have used only 30% of the time. Now this has become more than, so I use 35, 75, so it could be 20%. Anyway, so I'll correct it. So now, by looking at this report, you can come to know that the company's focus is more on carbon neutrality and sustainable development, okay, rather than on biodiversity. Now, I can just give you some idea about sustainable development goals. See, there are these goals which have been formulated by United Nations Development Program. These are different goals. Different countries try to achieve these goals in time-bound manner, like no poverty, no hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, decent work. So all these are development goals. India has adopted 7 goals in a very aggressive manner. Like no poverty and zero hunger are the 2 which have been adopted. Then clean energy and sanitation is also there, affordable and clean energy. There is so much focus on clean energy these days. With the renewable energy generation, the target is 500 megawatt by the year, as I told you in the earlier presentation also, 2030, 500 megawatt is the target. So the companies, they use sustainability language in their marketing. It is a fancy word these days. And so one can do the content analysis and come to some conclusion about what kind of words are used, and by looking at those words, analyzing those words, we can come to a conclusion about the reports. So this is how the analysis of the text is carried out. So analysis of the report is carried out. So in all the software,